r/ask Reddit. Parents who've snooped through their teenagers' stuff, what's the weirdest thing you've ever come across? I went to my 10-year-old daughter's school for parent-teacher conferences and opened her locker to take a look inside. There wasn't much in it, but lying in the bottom was a book from our local library about how to plan a wedding. Not a fun one with pictures of wedding dresses and stuff. It was called Wedding Rites, a complete guide to traditional vows, music, ceremonies, blessings, and interfaith services. I was baffled, and her teachers and I had a good laugh about it. When I got home and asked her about it, she explained she and her bestie were trying to marry their dogs to each other. When my brother was a teenager, we went through about 3 computers. He bought his own, and when that one died, he started using my dad's laptop. It's quickly on the brink of death. He asked me to fix it for him, and sure enough, it was so packed full of viruses that it took hours to fix. He asked what was on it, and I had the privilege of showing him the metric shit-ton of the most disturbing hentai. He was banished from using other people's computers without supervision, and my dad canceled the internet. Edit. This was my brother. I was not responsible for taking care of him or setting rules for him in any way. I just fixed a laptop because I was asked to. Searching kids' internet histories. Kid 1, porn. So much porn. Kid 2. How tall is the tallest bridge? What layers can you see in the Grand Canyon? Happy goat videos. Kids, man. So only one of your kids knows about incognito mode, or one is older than the other. I also use incognito for trivia questions. I don't want someone seeing my search suggestions and finding out I had to Google if dolphins have hair. When I was 19, I came home from a night out with my girlfriends to my mother, hysterical and crying, dramatically asking, "How could you do this to me?" She had found a sandwich bag with an unknown substance in it and somehow came to the conclusion that it was heroin and I had secretly turned into a drug addict. It was small bacon-flavored dog treats for our Chihuahua, which I had portioned out so they wouldn't get stale. Pretty obvious that my mother had no idea what heroin looked like. My mom was going through my sister's room after she returned from a trip to Berlin. Nothing crazy, just getting her laundry together. She found a small baggie of white dust and rocks. She tasted it to see if she could recognize the drug, and when she couldn't, confronted my sister. It was small pieces of the Berlin Wall my sister had chipped off as a keepsake. My mother ate the Berlin Wall. A rusted train nail, not snooping. She folded it up in a sweatshirt to keep it safe, and I was putting away laundry. She thought it was an artifact. Couldn't believe something could be that rusty without being 100 years old. My son was 15 at the time. I went into his room and tried to get him to clean it because it was a damn disaster area. I was ranting at him, "Look at all the garbage all over the floor. Look at the dirty dishes." Then I spotted a drinking glass, like a pint glass, on the floor. I said, "You have glass on the floor where you could step on it and slice your foot wide open." I leaned down and picked it up. It had stuff in it. I took a closer look. He had stuffed it with a couple of socks in the bottom and taped a nitrile glove over the top. The glass was slippery in my hand. I stood there looking at it with dawning horror as I realized that I'd found his homemade fleshlight. I just set it down on the floor and walked out. We've never spoken of it since. I was like 13, living in a rural area, and my best friend at the time was always up to something. For some reason, we got it in our heads that we could secretly raise chickens in the forest behind my house. So we bought an entire chicken starter kit, complete with feed, lights, and a book on how to do it right. We attempted to shoplift a few baby chicks in her sweater from the farm supply store, but got caught on the way out. The plan never materialized because no one would sell us baby chicks. Later, my mother found the starter stuff in my closet. It was a weird conversation. She was expecting to find drugs. She was mainly mad the store didn't call her when we got caught attempting to shoplift baby chicks. My dad was moving my car in the driveway, yelling out the car window about how it smells like pot. He reaches into the center console and pulls out a pack of cigarettes. And what about these? I thought you didn't smoke cigarettes. I don't. They're crayons. Sure enough, the cigarette box was full of crayons. I was a stoner, not a cigarette smoker. She'd been in trouble at school because after her father left, she found an old marijuana vape pen of his and got caught with it. So I went to make sure there wasn't anything else like that in there and found a love letter from her boyfriend promising to take her to McDonald's every day and play Panic at the Disco at their wedding when they got married. It seemed like she was sleeping with this letter under her pillow. I put it right back where I found it. My mom would do this when I was a teenager. I got a diary and hid it. When she found it and opened it, all she found was in big writing, "Thought you found something good, huh?" She laughed about it for the next 20-plus years. I miss her. Found a notebook labeled Top Secret Plans. Inside was a full blueprint for how they'd fake sick to skip school, complete with fake cough sound effects and backup crying strategy if I didn't buy it. I was half impressed, half offended. They even wrote, "Mom might pretend to be mad, but she'll secretly respect the hustle." They were right. I don't snoop, but I do clean and organize from time to time. Teen knows this. Also knows that unless I find some really illegal shit, I'm not real worried. Having said that, a suit of armor he had made out of watermelon rinds and forgot to toss out. Whole new ecosystem growing on it all. I'm not my parents, but they told me and my sister that the weirdest/funniest thing they ever uncovered were the shitty quote-unquote adult comics my sister and I drew for each other when we were young teens. We would take turns drawing a row of panels so we would add onto the story we were building together. Mostly it was an excuse to say swear words we weren't allowed to say. The one that forever lives in my head is one my sister drew herself and slipped under my door to share with me while we were supposed to be sleeping. It was a really well-drawn SpongeBob comic that had him going around town and saying "fuck you" to everyone, and him waking up the next morning thinking it was a dream. All the townspeople were in his bedroom and told him "fuck you" as a response, because it wasn't a dream after all. Our parents discovered our hoard of comics hidden under my sister's mattress when they went to replace it. My sister and I were both in tears, thinking we were both going to get in trouble, but our parents were laughing their asses off. My sister still has those comics somewhere, and she recently found them again, and we read them all. Our childish humor still mostly holds up. We both still make comics in our spare time, so that was the beginning of a side hobby we share. My mom found my sister's weed pipe in high school. She looked at me and said, "Do you know what this is?" I said no, ran to my room, put a 2-foot bong in my pant leg, and went to my friend's house. Not weird, but when I was about 15, my mom confronted me with a dime bag asking, "What is this?" Obviously thinking drugs or something. I'm a nerd. It was the bag the screws for my new hard drive came in. I was 20 or 21, still living at home. My dad had a lot of questions about the tiny quote-unquote druggy bags he kept finding. "Dad, I work in a jewelry store. Jewelry is often shipped in tiny bags, and I just shove the empty ones in any available pocket. I don't use drugs, Dad, nor do I sell them." I apologized to my parents for the dead hermit crab and my brother's IRS forms that they found in my bedroom. Did the IRS kill the crab? One of my best friends keeps tabs on his teenager's device and internet usage. He's an IT security manager who was formerly a forensic accountant. All in all, he knows his shit. He mostly just sets the usual parental alerts and blocks, but is much more thorough on preventing workarounds on his 17-year-old son's habits over the past few years. It's so boring. God, it's so fucking boring. It's all literally Fortnite. Well, personally, as a kid, found this thick piece of, glass. Except it didn't seem like glass. And it was triangle-shaped with a round bottom. I really don't think it was glass, but it was clear. And in my kid brain, I, for whatever reason, thought it was a shark tooth. So I took it to school, and it stayed in my desk until Thursday when my teacher found it and called a meeting. For whatever reason, despite being fairly bookish and quiet, They thought I was going to hurt someone with it. So they called a meeting with my parents and brought it out, and they were like, "What's this for?" I got hyped. I was like, "That's the shark tooth I found in the backyard. I was saving it for show and tell." So it clicked with them. They gave it back. It's been lost to the abyss now. My mom found weed in a plastic baggie in my sister's room. Replaced baggie with new baggie of lawn grass. Lol, oh my God. My parents found my little piece of hash in the car. They replaced it with a piece of bouillon cube. I laughed so hard when I realized what they had done. And then, I tried to smoke it anyway. My mother did something similar to my brother. 6 years later, he's still mad she smoked his weed. My mother found around 500 pounds tucked away in a drawer. She came to the conclusion that I was a drug dealer and hiding it from her. Don't know how she came to that conclusion, but when I got home from school, she sat me down all serious-like and cried over it. No, I'd just been saving Christmas and birthday and lunch money for years to get a dog because my parents said they couldn't afford it. Still wasn't allowed to get one, though. 28 now, and I've got 2, though, so I'm not mad anymore. I loved sugar as a kid, and I had a big Ziploc bag full of powder sugar. Also near it a spoon that for some reason I was melting chocolate on because I thought it looked cool. I was 12. Mom thought I was doing drugs. A YouTube watch history full of NJM insurance commercials. She's on the spectrum and was obsessed with insurance commercials for a minute. I once found the Subway wrapper to my sub that he quote-unquote helped me look for months prior when I was 8 months pregnant, under his bed. I was looking forward to that sub so badly. It had tomatoes and banana peppers on it, and when I saw he had taken them all off, it sent me into a rage. It just disappeared, and he helped me look for it in the refrigerator. It's been over 7 years. He's 17 now, and I still bring it up. Not a parent. But I stumbled across my little sister's diary when I was cleaning her room, just oldest daughter things. And because I was an asshole, I read a few pages and discovered she's secretly a great writer. She has no interest in writing fiction. She didn't even finish high school. But she was describing the mundane details of her life with incredible humor and observation. I've never said anything, but I hope she's still keeping a diary. Teenagers? You should see the shit my toddler hides. I worked in a daycare center where a toddler would routinely shit his diaper and hide said shit in either a play car he was quote-unquote driving or just the front inside of his pants. A shit hider, if you will. My wife's brother, when he was a toddler, used to hide his apple juice in his room until it fermented. She told me he would come walking down the hall, toddler drunk off, of fermented apple juice, and they could never figure out where he was hiding it. Dionysus would be proud.